Okay, and I'm okay, and I'm back. Thanks for joining again to watch another episode of. At this time, while I'm recording, I'm still trying to think of a name. So clearly, there is a name on this, and you can see it, but I don't know what it is yet. So thank you for joining me on whatever I decided to call this at this time. So yeah, I got Poco all colored up, and I actually think I'm going to just go ahead and finish him up first. Get to the darkest green. And now it's pretty much all just adding shade to these characters right now. And the artwork in this is it's fairly simple, so I'm not like going immensely out of my way. I mean, I'm not trying to get these looking realistic. Just more or less just fun, really. That's my main goal. Ooh, that's going off into the edge there. Okay, try to stay in the green. There we go. And this process at this point doesn't really take that much time. Let's back up and that. Keep going off on those edges. And if everyone's wondering, I tend to use the brush I'm using right now, was the one I tend to go to a lot. And there's no real reason for it, just that it just became my favorite. I'm not sure why, but and I like the kind of fuzziness it gives me on the edges. Especially for this kind of project that's just meant to be, kind of like a kid's book. So that look works. But then I do use this brush on pretty much most of the things I work on. I will switch to other brushes, but this is the one I use for the most part. So I guess I'm just used to it. See where his legs are exactly. Okay. And I think there's about 30 more images that need to be done for this book. I think about that. So yeah, this takes a bit, but it's worth it in the end. Let's see how that's going. Yeah. I don't really mind the edge here because it's going to be cut off. It's going to pretty much be like along this line. So it's going to be lowered a little bit. So, and the artwork, the book has been written. So all the artwork I'm doing, I've actually storyboarded what I want it in quick thumbnail sketches. And that's what I'm actually going on. And I'm sure you're already seeing it. It doesn't take long when I'm in this part of the sketching. Pretty much just touch-ups at this point. And again, this brush makes touch-ups very easy. So it just kind of fades in. And as for, I'm not sure what this brush is called. Let's see here. It's, oh, concrete. So I guess if you go online and look for concrete, you can use the same brush if if it looks as interesting to you as it does to me. I'm pretty sure I can take this episode all the way to the end of getting detail on both of these characters. This wouldn't take that long. Boop. A lot of this is me just trying to think of things to say, because as you know from a previous video, I am it's hard. I don't know. It takes a while to get used to talking, and especially having to hear myself talk. But I'm getting there. I mean, I've really just been doing this for a day now, but it's pretty much just been kind of non-stop. So I'm getting used to it. So what a difference a day will make for you. I could just do that. I can just use white. This whole thing blurs. Make his little plates look like they're kind of glistening. It's a dragonfly, but you know, there's still part of a... I mean, like, there's a lot of dragon in him. I was very... I don't know, kind of stretched the term dragonfly. But even so, I mean, he's still an insect, so I try to keep that in mind, especially when designing him. So black still fades. Actually, yeah, that'll work. All right. Okay, and now for another very important part that I usually just save for the end, but I may as well just give it to him now. I'm going to give him his wings. But even though he's wearing a backpack, I figure his wings can just kind of pop up from behind and kind of be spread out. And I try to give him 4 wings in each sketch. I'm sure if you look back at the books, you'll find times when it looks like there's 2. My thought on that is they're just kind of folded up together. So just thought I'd throw that out there before anyone asks me. Okay, hope you don't mind me humming. I hum while I work. I'm on the wrong layer. Okay, there we go. Alright, now you can see what I'm doing. Alright. And just gonna add a little bit of shading. Oops, too much. Let's just go here and go down. Okay. And add a little bit of shade to the eye. Along with a little light. Okay, and I'm gonna go back and add his brows when I'm done with her. Because that's actually actually a different brush entirely. Boop, boop. Oh, and actually, before I even do that, I should give her her stripes. Do another layer just to be safe. Actually, I think I got that backwards. There you go. Her sleeve always ends in yellow. Starts with black and then ends in yellow. And there's always 4 stripes. So if anyone out there wants to draw patchwork, just keep that in mind. Even though it's not like a, I don't know, if you want to draw, you can draw as many stripes as you want. I'm not gonna dislike you for. I'd just be happy that you drew her. So. And if you do draw her, you can, feel free to send me a link. If you actually go to my website, HasaniStudios.com, I have a gallery there, and I have one gallery made just for fan art. So I have a few sketches people made of her. I have images of felt artwork for my bedroom door that was made by a viewer in Australia, and that was really awesome. I enjoy in pretty much any artwork anyone sends me. And I try to respond to everyone's message when they send me that. Actually, any message in general, I try to respond. Okay, and if you just give me a moment here, I am moving away just to reset my background noise. And all right, got the telly back and going. Now back to the sketching. So I guess if I don't have anything playing in the background, it feels kind of creepy to me. I don't know if that's like the real reason why, but I guess it kind of feels like that. And then every now and then I'll go through a phase where I'll just play music. I guess it just depends on what I'm in the mood for. Alright, let's get your other sleeve. And actually, I'm just going to pause for a little bit, just for a second. Okay, I'm back. Alright. Guess it's pretty, well, not like extremely late here in the day, but it's, I guess about 9:30. It's going to be 10, but yeah, around this time, and I'll have a very active imagination, so when I start hearing noises, I have to go and check on them. It always turns out to be nothing, but yeah, I get paranoid. So I think when you do a lot of sketching and artwork, I think you can tend to have a very active imagination. Kind of helps. There was a time for a while, just kind of just a sort of random story, where I used to always look up ghost stories online. And the ghost stories I always loved looking at were ones that kind of claimed to be true. I mean, they may or may not be. I try to keep an open mind, but I mean, I don't want to say they are definitely true and then, I was duped. And I'm not really sure where my belief is in terms of if ghosts exist or not, but I try to stay open to it, but anyway, I am rambling on way more. But I liked looking for a good story. And when I would find one, am I gonna be able to fit all of hers? I'll find a way. I'll find a way to get that extra stripe. But yeah, so I would look up ghost stories, and then I would tell them to my friends. And there was a while, I mean, they liked hearing them, but then there was a while where I would only tell them when I was in the mood, which was late at night, which I always thought was, yeah, that's a good time. So it would just kind of strike me. But there was a time when friends started to kind of not take my phone calls if it was after 10 o'clock because they knew the only reason I was calling was because I found a story and I wanted to share it with someone and they didn't want to hear it at that time. So they'd wait till the morning and then they'd ask me to tell it, which it was never that, it was never not as interesting in the daylight. But in the end, at night, it was more interesting, but I was also kind of freaking myself out too. But I guess that was kind of the fun of it. I'm gonna hide that other stripe in the folds of her sleeve. There we go. All right. There's some of the stories I looked up. Now I feel obligated to kind of tell one after that because I don't know. I'm sure someone listening to this will hear that and they'll want to keep on going. But one that was very interesting was the Black-Eyed Kids. I don't know if any of you have heard of that, but that's an interesting one. And the thing, I mean, the thing I told that one. I think the first time I told it, I was in the car with someone, and in the story, it's about it begins with a guy waiting. He pulls up to his apartment, and these kids knock on the door of his car. And when he looks at them, he can see, oop, I just chose white. I want to choose dark brown. Okay, but he feels like there's something wrong. And the kid that's talking to him, he's talking to him very casually, saying that it was something like him and his brother were wanting to get some mud, like they're looking for spare change for to go to a movie theater or something, and they're just asking if he has like some spare change, and they're very insistent on it, and the guy didn't understand exactly why the kids were kind of freaking him out, and at one moment he turns away from them. And when he turned away, that's when he realizes that their eyes were just completely black. Just all the eyes. I guess it kind of be like Patchwork's eyes, except, no white people, just all black. And when he looks back, the kid he was talking to gives him this look that just like the kid just understood exactly that the guy figured out what was wrong. And at that moment, the kid grabs onto his door handle and tries to desperately get into the car. But the guy, he's able to get away from there. So he drives off and he just kind of drives around for a while. And when he gets back, the kids are gone. But tells he calls a friend about it. And as he's telling his friend about what happened, his friend there's a woman at his friend's house, and she says like, "Oh yeah, I've seen those kids. If you had let them into your car, they would have killed you." And she tells them the story about how like they came to her apartment and knocked on the door and desperately wanted to get in, and she believed that if she let them in, they would have killed her. But the story, the whole story sort of finds its peak when the guy telling the story, so it's a story within a story, but anyway, he meets a teacher who tells him about how he had this late lecture one night, and at the end of the lecture, he leaves and gets into his car, And before he can drive off, there's a tap at the window. So when he turns the window, he sees that it's this guy that was in his lecture. And he pulls down the window, and the guy tells him, "There are these kids by my car. Would you mind just giving me a ride for a while?" So he lets him in, and they drive out of the parking lot, and they pass by his car, and he sees these kids by his car, and it's like a group of teenagers, and they're all just kind of loitering by his car. But as he's passing by them, he just thinks they're just kind of like just rowdy teens. And the teacher does notice that I think one of the kids has very strange looking eyes, like very, very dark eyes. But he drives around for a while, and I think I mean, I forget exactly how the story goes, but I believe they go to like a cafe or something like that to wait it out. But they do go back to the garage, and the kids are gone. And when he asks the guy exactly why those kids were by his car, he tells him that when he was heading to the lecture, one of the kids turned up at his apartment and asked for a ride, and he gave them a ride. And at the end of the lecture, when he was going back to his car, he saw like a group of teens there when it was really just like one kid, and he didn't know why there was now a group there, and that scared him. So that's when he went looking for a ride. But now that the kids were gone, everything was fine. So he got into his car, and the instructor, they were going the same way. But as they're driving home, the instructor was behind the guy, and they come to a light. And when the light turns green, the guy pulls out, and this semi just comes barreling through the light and just rams right into the guy's car and kills him instantly. So the ambulance comes, the police come. Um, so they go through the whole report, and the instructor, after everything, he he waited by the accident, and he said like some hours later, but like across the street, the kid with the weird eyes appeared there, and that's when he drove off. And that's pretty much the end of the story that I know of the black-eyed kids. But that's a story that I told to my friends, and now late at night, some of them every now and then they get the idea that there's going to be like a knock on their door. It's an interesting story. It's a story that I thought about actually kind of incorporating into a film at some point. I might still do that. I don't know if I'm like tempting something when I do that. So, because once again, I try to keep an open mind when it comes to those kind of things. But yeah, so tell your friends, watch out for late night visitors. Or if you're in film, try making a short film. But I think it'd be a very interesting short film. Sort of stayed on her hair longer than I think I usually do, but I got caught up in the story, but it's fine. Sort of zoned out while I was working on her hair. Okay, so I'm getting there. Everything's supposed to be just kind of soft with this character. Here we go. And I feel strange that I told that story and then just kind of moved right on to like, well, anyway, so let me just go back to the artwork kind of thing. But I know I do have fun telling Ghost Stories, that one was might have been a little more rickety than when I usually tell them because I'm still getting comfortable with this whole recording thing. And also talking to I'm talking to you, but you're not here right now. So at the moment of this recording, I am talking to absolutely no one. So I'm still trying to get past the whole like feeling crazy doing that kind of thing, which I will, because I get a lot done this way. I feel like having the pressure to make the video and do these projects. It's not really pressure, but well, actually kind of. I mean, I feel an obligation to making the video, and then combining that with the projects I already have going on, it's a lot of help. I'm no longer just doing a quick speed paint to hopefully fill up my, I guess, YouTube quota. Now I'm just recording what I do every day, and that's pretty great. So yeah, just tell your friends, keep watching, and then who knows, maybe I can always be just doing this if I get enough views. And it's actually, I think, this is the first day I've done this, and because I keep coming to the computer and doing other things, and I'm actually going to try to find a setup to record just doing live paper sketches and sculptures. I mean, I filled up 5 videos in the just today. So these will probably upload frequently, but everything I'm saying is just like in the first day. So at the moment you're watching this, you're probably already seeing what I'm saying put into action. So you already see what I decided to do with how many I can make of these videos. But yeah, ghost story wise, yeah, I'll definitely, yeah, it's kind of fun. Yeah, I'll definitely tell more ghost stories as things go on, as I try to find more things to talk about. And that's one thing that I'm always have something to say on that. I say always, I'm sure I'll run out of like a story at some point. But even, I guess, just my family alone, even during holidays when we get together, and it's always great. I enjoy holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. But at some point, it does seem like our holidays do turn into, we just start kind of telling ghost stories. And I enjoy that. It's fun. But yeah, we'll tell like past stories, things that happened to the other family members. I don't think that is not. You don't see her. Her heart is covered up by her sleeve, so that's fine. But I think what would be good is to give more indication that she's nibbling on her sleeve. So let's I'm not even sure if I'm going to, but see what happens if I put on. Yeah, okay. You can have a bit of a mouth there. And she doesn't have a nose. She has kind of a more of kind of a stump there, I guess you could say, or not really now, but she has kind of like a muppety, almost like a very small Fraggle sort of bump. That's where a nose would be. Yeah, all the detail is pretty much there. So now, actually, let's get some on this braid. I don't want the braid to, or the ribbon. I don't want the ribbon to just look like I slapped it on there and didn't care, because I care. It's something that Patchwork would care about, so since she cares, I definitely care. Okay, and now we go to a more solid brush, maybe a 9. Is 9 gonna be good? Yeah, alright, and now we put in All right, putting in her stitches. Okay, and Poco needs his brows. He usually has a floating one at some point. Okay, and there you have it. There's I guess that would be how you do a children's book sketch, or at least how I do one. So now when I'm putting out the format of the book, because there is going to be a background, I can just like plop them into that page. Yeah. But yeah, all right, looking good. So that's done. Hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe and check back for more.